the most dangerous countries in the world today is making a new threat directly aimed at the United States. North Korea, the secretive nation, with its mysterious young dictator announcing they will test their nuclear powers and saying they will put America on notice.
At approximately 12 p.m. February 12, North Korea conducted an underground explosion that is believed to be a nuclear test despite international warnings. The U.S. Geological Survey detected an artificial earthquake with a magnitude of 5.0 to 5.1 from the northeastern area of North Korea in the Richter scale. This would be the country's third nuclear test since its previous test in 2006 and 2009. It was in direct violation of several United Nations Security Council resolutions. The blast violates UN Resolutions 2087 and it goes against North Korea's commitment North Korea made as part of the six-party talks of 2005. The United Nations strengthened sanctions against North Korea in January 2013 following a December 2012 missile launch that reportedly put a satellite in orbit. After the UN sanctions in January 2013, before the missile, North Korea vowed more missiles and nuclear tests and made threats against the United States and South Korea.
An emergency meeting at the UN Security Council meeting has been called. Concern arises especially from the West. Ban Ki-moon and South Korea have already been vocal about their concern with this serious matter. With this being said, the main issue is that this puts North Korea one step closer to its goal of developing and building a nuclear warhead that is small enough to mount an all-range missile capable of reaching the United States. It is still early to tell what actions the United States will take, particularly Washington, but this is seen as a direct threat or even a direct message from the new leader of North Korea, Kim Jong.
Here's the timeline. North Korea, which carried out its third nuclear test after weeks of threats, have been working at it for a long time. In 1959, plans began to conduct nuclear activities near Yongbyon, which has become the center point of the country's nuclear project. In August 1998, North Korea test-fires first long-range rocket, which files over Japan and lands in the Pacific Ocean. In less than 10 years, Korea test-fires second rocket, but fails less than 1 minute after launch, which happened in July 2006. Because of the fail, North Korea conducts the first nuclear test in October 2006 and then conducts their second nuclear test in May 2009. About a month before this test, Pyongyang launches a rocket over the Pacific. North Korea then successfully launches their third rocket, carrying a satellite in December 2012, which was just last year. North Korea threatens to launch a third nuclear test, which was carried out and said that it would target the United States of America. Surprisingly, South Korea was also on the receiving end of the nuclear launch.
What they are lacking, and this is critical, is the ability to make a nuclear weapon small enough to be placed atop a missile and launched at an enemy. It's believed North Korea is still many years away from being able to do that. Still, as today shows, a nation which proudly hangs anti-American posters such as this, while struggling to feed its own people, is working every day to become an even greater threat.
When we take a look at how North Korea and South Korea came to be, it takes us back to 1945 at the end of World War II. Up until that time, Japan had held control over Korea and it had been one of its colonies. However, they withdrew their possession of Korea, and the United States and the Soviet Union decided to take it upon themselves to take control over the two states until they held up their own provisional governments. Now, the United Nations set up the elections for this to occur, for the government to be set up, but the Soviet Union decided not to cooperate. At that time, they fully separated into two separate states, with the Soviet Union backing up North Korea and the United States of America backing up South Korea. If we take a look at the current state of affairs right now, with the nuclear weapons being tested in North Korea and the supposed attack on the United States as well as South Korea, it begins to make sense as we realize that South Korea is being backed up and supported by the United States of America. And we can also take a look at that and link it back to the fact that the Soviet Union, or now Russia, is supporting North Korea And there is obviously some tension that's there between Russia and the United States currently going on that is reflected upon the battles between North and South Korea.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, European Union, NATO, and the UN all have similar thoughts of North Korea, posing as a threat to everybody and disregarding any peace treaties or agreements. And these organizations, along with countries, are ready to take action. United States Obama called the test highly provocative and actually sent aircrafts to determine whether or not the missiles were plutonium or uranium powered, and is also considering to cease any aid provided with North Korea, which would cause chaos between the two countries and even lead to militarism. As for China, the US and Europe are pressuring China to get North Korea to comply with the UN resolution, as well as pacts signed with the US, in which it agreed to end its nuclear program. North Korea is heavily dependent on China, their biggest trading partner, as more than half the goods the North Korean regime needs to desperately survive. Food, fuel, basics enter through North Korea at a trading port, a city of over 800,000 Chinese people, and several thousand North Koreans in Leon province, South Korea. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ramin Mehmanpress stated that after the nuclear test, that all nuclear weapons should be destroyed. Yet all the intelligence indicators received and processed by the GIS Defense and Foreign Affairs show that the nuclear weapons were in fact paid for and intended for the Islamic Republic of Iran. So in fact, Iran paid for it.
If there was any hope that Kim Jong-un would be any less threatening than his late father, then those are all dashed. The 20-something leader clearly enjoys his new role, now directly threatening the United States. This hostile nation now openly declaring that it will send rockets, one after the other, a nuclear threat directly said to the United States of America.
He's trying to show that he can't be pushed around.
It is now believed that North Korea holds nuclear weapons that are extremely powerful. The latest test done in 2009 reveals that the nuclear weapons may be half as powerful as the one that destroyed Hiroshima. Right now, we can see that it could cover a space the size of Manhattan. We don't know how powerful these nuclear missiles may be, but it can cover up to 6,000 kilometers.